Hello everyone, welcome back, hope you're well. Before I even begin this video, could be another long video, I apologise. I have to mention the fact that I have reached 1,000 subscribers. Wow. So yeah, thank you very much for that. That is so cool. That's amazing. Like, I look at the number 1,000 and I'm like, okay, like it's kind of like scary, but it's really cool. So thank you to everyone who has subscribed and watches my videos, comments. Yeah, that is very wow. So thank you very much. So we're actually just under a month until the first semi-final of the year, until the week of Eurovision. That's come around very quickly. We're nearly there. So I think now is the time to talk about the big question, the all-important question: who could win Eurovision 2022? And that is what we'll talk about right now. But it's definitely open and kind of unpredictable. You can't just say one country. I think there's a group of about 5 countries which I'm going to go through in this video. So I think you can kind of narrow it down to a group, but which one it will be in that group, very hard to predict. So it's going to be really interesting. I think some of you who watch my videos, I think some of you also follow Rhys Chambers on YouTube. And he made a Who Could Win Eurovision 2022 video as well. So I'm probably going to mention mostly the same group of countries that he mentioned, maybe just in a different way. So I agreed with most of what he said, really. A few weeks ago, I made a poll on my community page. It was about 2 weeks ago. I asked you to vote on a list of about 5 or 6 countries. Who do you think will win? And that poll had just under 300 votes, I think. So I'm going to tell you at the end the results of that poll. But it was a few weeks ago and things can change. And there's a country that I didn't include in that poll, which I think I should have. So I think we'll have to do another one closer to the time. There's another thing I'd like to mention before we get into this. I've noticed over the past few years, there seems to be a pattern where you get close to the week of the live shows, you know, after the rehearsals, and sometimes there's 2 countries that become the favourites in the betting odds, or, you know, just in general. So last year you had Italy and France were like the main 2 favourites close to the final, and they did end up being the top 2. And then 2019 it was the Netherlands versus Italy, and again they were the top 2. 2018, I know eventually it was between Israel and Cyprus, but from what I remember, I don't think that became clear until literally like the day or like 2 days before the final. But in the end, it was, you know, Israel or Cyprus. So could it be the same this year, where as we get closer to the live shows, it comes down to 2? Maybe. I'm not really doing this in a particular order, although I will talk mainly about the countries that have the most chance of winning, and then at the end I'd like to mention just 2 or maybe 3 countries that people have mentioned that have maybe a tiny chance of winning, but not quite as much as others. So the first country I think could win, I'm going to start off with something that I think is being a little bit underrated, a little bit overlooked at this point, and that is Greece. Amanda Tenfield. I've said for quite a while now, actually, that I get winner vibes from this, and I feel like people are focusing more on other countries, and I think people are kind of underestimating what this could do. And I've been thinking this for quite a few weeks now. First of all, the actual song itself, when I listen to it, it gives me that winner vibe. There's something about it, it's simple. It actually kind of makes me think of Arcade in a way. I don't even know why. It's just simple but dramatic. And I think a lot of this will come down to staging. If we find out they've got a very, very good staging, then they're just going to climb even more as a favourite. And like I've said before, if the staging is really special and it matches the atmosphere of the song, then I think they could be onto something. But the song itself, when I hear it, I can try and picture Amanda going up on stage, collecting the trophy, confetti comes down, you know, and then they do that winner's reprise at the end. So I can imagine that happening with her. I know you shouldn't base it all on that, but I can see that happening. I can just picture that winning moment, her going to collect the trophy and perform the song at the end. Again, it's just got this winner feeling about it. So I would definitely keep an eye on Greece, especially when we find out what the staging is. Hopefully they've got something special planned with that. And she is in the top 10 of the betting odds, so it's not that underrated, but I just feel like it's the fans themselves that are not really talking about it as much as I thought they would. But this could change, so we'll definitely wait and see what happens with that in the upcoming weeks. So Greece, definite contender, I think, one to watch. Another country I have to mention is Sweden. Cornelia Jacobs, of course. I mean, you know, well, you should know by now that I don't really get the hype around Hold Me Closer. I don't mind it, but I just don't, I'm not getting what everyone else is getting. And I think there's always something every year that people love that you don't. Like last year for me, it was Malta, Je me casse. I thought that was a bit overrated, and it didn't actually do as well as expected in the end. And this year for me, the song that most people love, but I don't really, for me this year it is Sweden. But I can't just deny the fact that this could win. I mean, yeah, it could. I mean, the jury vote, surely, yeah, I can see this getting a lot. Maybe winning the jury vote, although actually, I'm not sure. I think there could be other contenders to win the jury vote. But I'm sure it will be up there quite high, definitely. What I'm thinking about this though, and I'm not saying this because I don't really like it that much, but it's something that I actually think could happen. I think what could get in the way of this is the televote. I know it's a big fan favourite with the fans of Eurovision, but I'm wondering actually if for the general public, if this will have, you know, if this will appeal to people, to the general public, as much as it does with you. Because I'm not sure if it will. I know it's a big fan favourite within the fandom, you know, within our community. But what would the general public think of this? You know, they've got other things that they can vote for as well. I can't see it flopping with the televote as much as they did in, you know, 2018 or 2019. I'm not saying they're not going to do well in the televote at all, but I don't think they'll do as well in the televote than the jury. But will they get enough with the televote to win overall? I don't know. I'm just thinking, will the general public really connect with this and gravitate towards it as much as people would like it to? I'm not sure. But, I mean, I can't deny, I think Sweden probably will be in the top 5 somewhere. It could win. Not entirely sure, but it is definitely a contender. So I think we have to talk about Ukraine. I mean, we could talk about, well, we can make a whole video about Ukraine. You know, they are currently the favourite to win. They have been for a while now. This will be very interesting. You know, there's a big debate going on about this. Lots of talk about this, you know, for the reason that we all know. I think a lot of people are kind of expecting that they're going to win. You know, that's it. We know the winner already. It's obviously going to be Ukraine for obvious reasons. But not necessarily, you know. There are other options. Whatever happens, this is going to be a very, very special moment, especially because we know now that they are actually going to be entering, performing on the stage. They're not using a live on tape, they will actually be there. And that's interesting, actually. I have a question for you. Do you think that that could give them even more of a chance to win? The fact that they'll be in the arena performing, it could up their chances even more. The thing is with this is that, you know, people will say, oh, if it wins, it's predictable, you know, political, they got sympathy votes. Well, we know which could be the case, but, you know, regardless of that, I think Stefania is good. Like, it's a good song regardless of any of that. In fact, when I actually watched their performance at Israel Calling, I actually got winner vibes. I was watching it and I thought, you know, this could win. Like, this performance is giving me that winner vibe, especially with, like, the clapping at the end of the song. You know, everyone clapping along in the arena. It's going to be a really special moment. It could win the televote. That will not be surprising at all. It could win a televote by a mile. But will the juries put a stop to that? You know, will they put an end to all that and not let them win? That could happen too. Yeah, they could end up coming, like, in the top 3, maybe, like, 3rd place or something. But it could win, and I won't be disappointed if they win at all. I'll be happy if they win, because I think, you know, the song deserves it. I mean, there will be complications, you know. Can they actually host in Ukraine next year? Would they want to host? Probably not. That's, you know, a whole other matter. But we can't rule it out completely. But I wonder if maybe televote, they'll win, juries will put a stop to that, maybe. But let me know what you think. So now let's talk about Italy. Another thing you could talk about for a completely separate video. So, I mean, first of all, if Privy wins, I'll be happy because I love the song, and again, it gives me that winner vibe. And seeing a country win twice in a row is something that most people my age, you know, my generation, haven't experienced. So that would be cool to see a country win back to back. You know, that would be something new and exciting. Well, but anyway, again, you know, I wouldn't be disappointed if it wins. I think it would deserve to win. And we've talked before about Italy being the host country, but that's not a problem because we know that Italy will break the curse of the host country. You know, they're going to be in that top 10, top 5. It doesn't matter the fact that the host country doesn't normally do very well, because Italy usually do very well for a very good reason, and I'm sure they'll do very well even though they're the host country. So I'm sure we'll see them in that top 5 somewhere. I have to say though, there was a time where I thought, oh, this could win. That was mainly before we knew all the songs. And also I think the hype has sort of gone from some people. The hype has faded away. I'm seeing quite a lot of negativity towards this, actually. You know, people saying, oh, we don't want this winning, this is boring. They can't sing live, which is that true? They can't sing live? I mean, they've only done it like at San Remo and maybe like 2 other occasions together. And did they sound bad? I don't remember them sounding bad live. So I don't know what that's all about. Yeah, there's definitely negativity. People don't want this to win. And that makes me want to support it more and vote for it more, which I will. So my confidence in this winning, Italy winning again, has kind of dropped a bit now. Even though I think the song itself deserves to win, because it sounds like a winner to me, I'm just thinking, will people not want Italy to win again, so they purposely won't vote for it and won't let it happen? Maybe. Yeah, I can see it definitely not winning. I feel like the song itself deserves to win, but people just won't want it to happen, so it won't, but it'll still be in the top 5 somewhere. But maybe it's not completely out of the question, you know. Why not? I mean, the juries should like it. Mahmood and Blanco together, you know, they've both got fans, you know, separately and together. You know, Blanco is just as big as Mahmood now. So I'm sure maybe the televote should gravitate towards it in some way. Maybe not as much as Måneskin, but will that be enough for them to win overall if they do brilliantly with the jury and well enough with the public? Maybe they could win again. That would be great. I'm here for it. But let me know what you think. Do you think, no, it won't win because people will just stop that from happening and people are just bored of this and, you know, they don't want to know? Or maybe it will just end up winning because they get enough points overall. Well, we'll wait and see, but I'm not that confident in it winning now as I was about 2 months ago. Another country I think could win, and this is something I've only recently kind of realised and started to think about more, the idea of them winning. I've started to really come round to the idea a lot more, and that's Spain. It's only recently that I've started to think, you know, this could actually win. And basically the reason why I think it could win is because it'll just end up doing well in both televote and jury, and it'll just end up winning overall. You know, it'll just work out that way. And I'm starting to think now that that could actually happen with Spain. It's already a big fan favourite. It always has been. You know, you look at all the polls, community ranking, you know, it's always up there in like the top 3, I think. I think it will get some 12 points from the juries, and it'll end up being very high in the jury results, and the televote should like it too. You know, I think it just appeals to everything. It's just got the overall package and overall appeal. So if you put all of that together, then it could actually end up winning. That's what I think, you know. I wouldn't rule it out completely. I don't think Slow Mo, the actual song itself, actually sounds like a winner. I don't think the actual song is winner material. But I think it's the overall package and performance, I think, that brings it to life. And we know that already. You know, she performs it well every single time. I think people will be really impressed with the choreography, the dancing and the singing together. You know, so I think it'll just appeal to everyone, and that could be the key to allowing it to just win overall. Like, I could see it happening, but like I said, the actual song doesn't sound like a winner. But what if it just ends up winning because it gets enough points overall? I don't think it's quite as likely as some of the other countries that I've just mentioned before, but I think it's an option, definitely. I wouldn't be absolutely shocked if it wins. So I've just talked about 5 countries. So I talked about Greece, Sweden, Italy, Ukraine and Spain. And I think those are the 5 main countries. Like, I think it probably will be one of those. Which one? I have no idea. But there's a few other countries that have maybe like a tiny chance. Countries that are in the top 10 of the betting odds and countries that people have mentioned as winning. One of them is the Netherlands. And I love this song. Like, I would love this to win. But realistically, I'm not really expecting the Netherlands to win. Because again, as much as I love it and as much as it's a big fan favourite, I just can't see it winning. I just can't picture it winning. And again, you know, we talk about overall appeal. I can't imagine it appealing to everyone. But it's interesting that it's, you know, being rated so highly, and hopefully that's good, and that means that it will do well and be in the top 10, maybe even top 5. But I'm not really expecting this to win, but I'll be happy if it does. And another country, Poland. It's always been kind of like in the background, and when the song came out, it was talked about as a winner, but I think that the hype over that kind of faded away over time. But it is actually like 4th or 5th in the betting odds, so it's still, you know, up there as predicted to do well. I think it's similar to Greece. I think they need a really good staging. And with his voice, you know, I'm sure he'll get jury votes, a lot of them, with a voice like that. I think they'll be impressed. But again, I'm just not really picturing it as a winner at the moment. But maybe Poland could still be an option. So I want to talk about the UK. And again, there's so much to talk about here as well. You could do a whole other separate video about how we've turned things around in a year. Well, and this is fascinating because what's happened is we've gone from getting absolutely nothing, a double nil poir, from now being 4th in the odds, the 4th favourite to win, and we're actually a contender to do well. It doesn't have to be a contender to win, but a contender of some kind to do well. We've actually got a competitive entry and artist in general. And there's so much praise for this, you know, which is very strange as a UK fan to have, especially, you know, when you just got 0 points last year and now people are loving our song. You know, people from other countries, and that's the key thing. There's people from other countries who really like our song, and he's, you know, Sam's doing lots of promotion in, you know, the Netherlands, the UK as well. He was at LEP, obviously he would be, but he's been on TV in Bulgaria, the Netherlands. When he performed at Amsterdam, I've heard very, very good things from people about his performance. So he's got lots of Dutch fans. And if you look at the polls that are coming through the rankings from fan groups from each country. In the UK, well, today we got 10 points from Italy, we got 12 points from another country like yesterday, and I think at the moment we're like number 4 in this fan group ranking of the year. So, you know, there's definitely something happening here, something's going on here, as the group would say. There's so much positivity over this, and people are actually saying that this could win the jury. And as a UK fan, you don't want to get too, you know, carried away, and you think, no, surely that can't happen. But I don't know if I'm being delusional, but it could happen, because his voice is incredible. There's no way that this will get absolutely nothing. And we're not coming last, like we can't come last, or even bottom 5. At this point, I think we will be on the left-hand side, and maybe even top 10, like maybe that is likely. So I'm not expecting to win at all, but it's looking good, you know, it's looking positive for a good jury result, definitely. I think the juries should love him and his voice. Let's hope people vote for us and we get a decent televote score as well to get us on that left-hand side of the board. But it's looking good, you know. I think there could be cause for celebration this year for UK fans, for a big improvement. So I'm not expecting us to win, but you have to mention the fact that it is 4th in the odds and it is being talked about as potentially doing very well, which for the UK, for us, is just unimaginable, especially with what happened last year. So if we do well, then we should be proud, and I think we will do well. So let's talk about this poll that I made on my community page 3 weeks ago. Now, like I said, there's a country that I haven't mentioned in that, which I should have done, and that is Spain. Spain I didn't include in the list, but I should have done. So if Spain was there, that would probably get quite a high score as well. I've got Poland in there. Maybe I should replace Poland for Spain, or maybe Poland could still be a possibility. But Poland has got the least amount of votes, so there's 289 votes. That's quite a lot, so thank you for voting. And the winner of the poll with 35% is Greece. So that's interesting. Now, if I did that on Twitter, I'm sure Sweden would win. The Cornelius Jacobs fans are all on Twitter, so if I did a Twitter poll, I feel like Sweden could win. But it's interesting that you voted for Greece. You know, and that was the first country I mentioned as maybe being a winner. So people obviously do agree with that. Sweden is second, Poland last. So yeah, that's interesting. I will do another poll in a week or two, or maybe even like the week before the whole thing starts. And I will include Spain as well. And we'll see if there's any differences in what we think. But from that first poll, Greece is what you voted for. So that's interesting. So let me know what you think about the countries I've just mentioned. Do you think it will be one of those countries? And which one do you think from those selection is the most likely? Or do you think it's a country I haven't mentioned at all that could be a dark horse to win? Yeah, let me know what you think in general about everything of what I just said. And yeah, try and comment not so much who you want to win, but who you actually think could win. You know, it's a prediction. And this year, in terms of my personal thoughts, I'm not that bothered. Like last year, Italy won, and I'm satisfied with that. Like I got what I wanted. Like I was so desperate for Måneskin to win. You know, I voted for them like 20 times in the final, and I've never been so desperate for something to win. I've never been so attached to a Eurovision entry as I have with City of Brony. So this year for me, I'm not as attached to anything as much as Måneskin. So I'm not like, there's nothing I desperately want to win. But I'll be happy if, you know, Italy win again, or Ukraine, Greece. Yeah, you know, there's a few things I'd like to win. So things could and probably will become a bit more clearer as we get closer to the time and we see the staging. I hope we, the UK, have got good staging, because if we mess that up, then that's not good. But yeah, looking forward to seeing, you know, what the stagings will be like and getting a better idea even more of who could possibly win. So things could change, but for now, let me know what you think of the potential contenders that I've mentioned, and feel free to give me your thoughts. And again, thank you for helping me reach 1,000 subscribers, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.